was standing in the sprawling IKEA store when a teenager walked in. He was wearing a purple hoodie with black joggers. Her hair was parted in the middle, giving her thin face an ominous look. He must have had too much gel, which made his head shine like fine silk. I have been working at IKEA for 3 months, and this was the first time I saw this boy. He paused in the heart of the store, scanning the surroundings as if searching for something specific. I was tempted to approach and inquire, but our manager's strict rule prohibited bothering customers, so I chose to wait until he approached me. He spent a few minutes in that stance, then fixed his gaze on me. Our eyes met, and he kept staring. I spoke up from behind the counter. "May I assist you?" He gestured to a corner and queried, "There was a red high-backed chair here last night. Where is it now?" So, he had been here before. Since I usually work daytime shifts, it wasn't surprising I hadn't noticed him. I politely responded, "The armchair collection has been transferred to the business section. Walk straight ahead, take a left, and you'll find it there." Surprisingly, instead of leaving, he grew agitated and posed an odd question. "But why do you have it? Moved it? What do you mean?" I was even more surprised to hear him personify a chair. Sorry, but we're renovating the store. The manager decided to reorganize everything according to his preference. He doesn't like it stupid." He didn't wait for my answer and went to the business section. "Look for her." I stood bewildered at his peculiar conduct, lost in thought. "What's wrong with this? Kid, what exactly are you up to?" I wondered. Waited at the counter, thinking he'd come back to pay for his favorite chair. But after half an hour, I saw him leave the store without saying anything. I was taking care of another client, so I couldn't ask him exactly why he came here. I was curious. What makes this backrest chair so special? During my break, I went back to see. The chair was in a corner, like all the other furniture in the store. There was nothing around or on it that could tell me what the boy did when he came this after 12 and drunk. The store has a security camera, so I decided to. I asked call from security to check the footage. Security was watching funny videos in the surveillance room when I walked in. He showed the passage where you see the boy walking to the store. He walked over to the high-backed chair and hugged her. Yes, I'm not lying. The teenager hugged a chair as if it were a human being. For the rest of his visit, he spoke to this chair. It was really creepy to see. He laughed and grimaced at the chair as if it were human. There was even one time when he looked at the camera with that same angry face. His expressions show that being filmed talking to a chair really upset him. What's wrong with him? I have no idea. That night I barely slept. This boy was so mysterious, his actions made no sense. I was determined to follow him discreetly the next time he came. The next day I went to take my lunch break. When I got back, Carl rushed up to me and said, "The boy came back without losing a second. I went to where the chair was at the back. I pretended to clean a nearby corner so I could hear her. Surprisingly, he was so absorbed in his one-way conversation that he barely noticed me. He was sitting on the floor, but Dad, Mom won't believe me. I know she loves me, but why does she always say you're gone? Why can't they see you like I see you? I miss you. I'm saving up so I can take you home. I won't let you stay here any longer." Yeah, it was fun to hit him with that rock, but he said, "You're dead, you're not dead, you can't die." I wouldn't allow it. I will fight anyone who says things like that about you. Suddenly I bumped the mop on the wooden table and the boy found himself. His eyes were bloodshot. I thought he was going to dump me and stab me for listening. I was so uncomfortable that I left quickly. I didn't hear the rest, but when he left the store, He gave me a murderous look. What the hell was he talking about? Does he think the chair is his father? But why? I could see her father had passed away, but it was a weird way to handle her grief. I followed him secretly. He walked to the corner and turned right. I did the same. He stopped in front of a small 2-story house and then went inside, so that's where he lives. I knew it was none of my business, but I was worried about this young guy. Gathering all my courage, I rang the doorbell, expecting him to open the door. But instead, a woman in her 40s came out. Her eyes looked swollen from crying a lot. Yes, you don't know me, ma'am, but there's something I have to tell you. The boy who lives here, is that your son? Yes, but YAT, he does something. I told him everything. As soon as she found out, she burst into tears. I finally discovered the other side of the story. The boy's name is Jason, and 5 days ago he lost his father from a crisis. They all watched TV after dinner, and his father smoked by the fireplace in his red armchair in his favorite seat. His father died in that chair, and since then he has taken the odd habit of talking to the chair as if his father was still sitting in it. He saw a psychiatrist who advised the family to get rid of the chair, but once they did, things got worse. Jason now looks for the same type of chair at the back and talks to him as if he were his father. Now I understand why he clutched that chair and came to IKEA every day to spend time with it. There was nothing I could do to help that poor boy. But after that day, he came to the store twice. I didn't bother him and gave him his space. But the story doesn't end well. I was on sick leave when Jason came to the store with a gun, sat in the chair and shot himself. He couldn't bear the pain of losing his father so suddenly. I still work in this store, and the manager burned the chair after this incident. When I have time, I visit Jason's mother because she's all alone now. I hope where Jason is now, he's finally found his father. May God grant peace to their souls. Have you heard of the SCP Foundation? You know, that fictional universe where they would have trapped many monsters and strange beings. If you knew, how would you react if I told you it was real? Well, to be honest, I don't know if it really exists. But after what I experienced this Friday after 12 o'clock in an IKEA, I refuse to believe that these are just internet stories. Part of it must be true. It all started several years ago. I was still little and knew nothing about SCP conspiracies, the monster, or the internet. That day, my parents took me to IKEA, and frankly, I was terribly bored. I started walking around while my parents were looking for a couch, and I remember something caught my eye. I came across an alley that stretched way too far. There was furniture everywhere, but no one was looking. I walked and walked until the front door was almost out of sight when this corridor would end. I had to find out, so I just kept going. Great. What is this that you're doing here? Did I tell you about going out while Mom and Dad shop? I'm sorry, Mom. You know what can happen? If lost, you might be caught by a villain or a monster. Would you prefer a monster over Mom and Dad? No, Mom. I'm sorry. Truly. I knew monsters didn't exist, but I nodded anyway. My mother started walking with me to my father, but I wanted to see what was down the hall. I started walking slower and slower until my mother passed me, and at that point, I took the opportunity to turn around. As soon as I saw that my mother had walked away, I ran as fast as I could. I was back on track. After a few seconds, I got tired and stopped. I thought my mother would be behind me, furious, hands on hips, as always. But no, there was no one behind me. I turned around and could no longer see the entrance to IKEA, nor my parents, nor other customers, nor sellers, nothing at all. A little confused, I kept going, hoping at least to find another way out. I walked and walked. Sometimes I even ran. How many minutes had passed? How could this place be so huge? I was breathing harder and more nervous. I was alone in a harmless, well-lit and safe IKEA. But at the same time, something was wrong, as if an inner voice was warning me of danger. Just as I was about to crack, something filled me with calm and hope. I caught a glimpse of an IKEA employee from behind. He wasn't doing anything. He was just standing there, looking at appliances. "Sir, I think I'm lost." The man had no face. Terrified, I began to step back. He just followed me at a very slow pace, but never stopped. I ran and ran as fast as I could. Often I thought I had lost him, but I saw him only in the distance, walking with terrifying tranquility. Time passed, and I could see it getting closer and closer. Was he walking faster? No. I was tired and exhausted and terrified. I fell to the ground. The being dressed in IKEA stood in front of me, and while I had given up, he did nothing. He just stood there looking at me without reacting. It won't matter to you. Little, it's still daytime. They attack only at night. Who are you? You're lost, eh? It's not a place for children. We're all at IKEA, I imagine. I've been here for months and I still haven't found the exit, but I think I'm close. It must be somewhere over there. There are plenty of people like me, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to be with Mom and Dad. Mommy and Daddy aren't here, kid. Come with me, or you'll die. Attention, we ask. To the last client, to go to the cash register. Our opening hours are now over. No good, I have to go. Sorry, kid, that... It could have been burdensome, but nonetheless, sir, this area stays reserved. Attention, employees only. I'm requesting your departure. It was another IKEA employee, faceless. It was identical to the previous one, but this one looked different. He was much more aggressive. His voice was creepy and dry, but the strangest thing was that he didn't have a mouth either. What was he talking about? Bastard, did you bring them? Ah, the teenager tried to hit the IKEA employee, but in vain. In a second, with a slight movement of hands, the monster broke the neck of the teenager, who fell lifeless to the ground. I didn't have time to see the scene because the monster and two others appeared behind him, were staring at me. I'm sorry, sir. These are not customer service hours. Come with us. We will have to drive you to the exit. Speaking these words, the three approached me, but not as the other had done before. This time they walked fast, so fast it seemed like they were running. Their distorted faces seemed to move as if they changed shape every second, and their veined hands were hardened. It was as if they were ready to grab my neck and make me suffer the same fate as the teenager. I ran as fast as I could. I did a U-turn. I had to sew them no matter what. Nothing worked. They were still behind me. I had turned so much that I had no idea where they were. I hid behind an oven and saw men passing by. I think I planted them. I watched them as they walked away, and something caught my attention. There were only two. Where was the third? Sir, your presence here violates our work rules. This is a restricted area. My body hurt from that. The man had not finished his attack. He was running towards me at full speed, crying. I looked for something to defend myself, but there was nothing. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. When the man was only a few steps away, I saw a door behind me. Was it hidden by the furniture? With the last of my strength, I opened the door and entered. That was the exit door. Suddenly, I found myself outside IKEA. People were walking around and cops were nearby, and I found him. He's here. It all happened so fast. In an instant, several policemen surrounded me, grabbing me. They took me to my parents, who ran a few meters away, between tears and reprimand. My parents told me 1,000 things, but I don't remember anything. I just fell asleep, and afterwards I only remember the hospital with a broken arm. I spent years without speaking or investigating the older subject. I was encouraged to search and surprise. I wasn't the only one to have had this experience. Apparently, a fictitious foundation was studying these anomalies, and IKEA was called SCP. I was traumatized when I was young. But frankly, I don't care now. When I look back on that day, I don't want anyone to believe me or question me. I will never set foot in an IKEA again. I like social networks. In the beginning, I used a nickname for all my accounts on the networks. I ended up adopting my first name, Adrian. A few years later, it seemed more natural. After gaining subscribers recently, a trend has gone viral on the internet. People spent the night in stores filming and posting on YouTube, so I decided to give it a try. Big mistake, guys, don't do this. I chose IKEA. Because of its immensity and lack of surveillance cameras, I thought doing the challenge alone would be safer. Little did I know I was wrong, so I carefully worked out my plan to spend the night in this department store. I decided to hide in a closet until closing. My trusty cameraman Jason offered to accompany me to Adrian's store. This video is gonna be crazy, man. I really think we're gonna rock this video. I agree, man. People love this kind of content, and I want to give them something unforgettable. Come on, let's get into it. BD. Chatting while charging the car, taking camera and a few things like snacks and blankets. When we arrived at IKEA, it was already dark. We both felt unwell as soon as we set foot in the store. I kept Jason busy for a good hour exploring them. Places before. Choose our secret hideaway, the cabinet shelf. I was very careful in me, slipping into a closet and ensuring Jason closed it behind us. We waited an entire hour, giggling and recording sequences while pretending to almost get caught. Actually, I'm just playing a recording of another video to make it look like an employee almost opened the door. The time passed quickly, especially since we had a lot of things to install and cameras to place in the closet for our outing. When we finished the installation, the lights finally dimmed and the store closed. Jason and I exchanged excited looks and jumped almost simultaneously out of the closet. Whoa, guys, take a look. It's just us in IKEA late at night, and the place has an unsettling atmosphere. We began our exploration, viewing deserted aisles and eerie quiet that enveloped us. But Jason and I kept talking almost non-stop, which diluted the tension of walking through the spooky environment. Yet an odd feeling crept over us as we began catching faint movements in our peripheral vision. What bizarre trickery could this be, and what exactly was going on with Jason? Jason suddenly shouted, and I looked his way to see him pointing nervously at one of the store's secluded IKEA aisles. A battered, ominous black aisle that seemed indistinguishable from the others. Jason's terrified expression said otherwise. "What's up, man? There was a guy down there. I saw a pair of eyes. He was glowing in the dark. I swear to you, Adrian, is anyone out there?" My pulse surged with excitement. Jason was behaving like such a natural actor. He hadn't clued me in about this spectacle, but my objective was crystal clear. Dive wholeheartedly into the thrill for an incredible video outcome. Marching down the dim corridor, I peered at Jason for assurance. He had gone pale and stared at me like I was out of my mind. His behavior made me chuckle as I confidently turned my focus back to the aisle. And that was when my gaze locked onto something utterly chilling. A spectral pair of glowing eyes piercing the shadowy void. What was it that I asked, my voice echoing in the vast, empty store earlier? Then I don't realize. A shadowy figure emerged rapidly from the darkness, darting past me. While I could discern he was male, his features were indistinct, his attire attire was in tatters, his long matted hair clinging to his head, yelling what seemed like nonsensical sounds. Abruptly, he lunged at Jason, pinning him firmly to the ground. Screaming, I ran towards them and tried to help Jason to his feet as the man fled into the black. Dude, you're fine. Let's get out of here fast. Without a second thought, we pivoted urgently and raced toward the exit, a singular focus driving us forward. To leave the shop as fast as possible by running, I quickly began to overtake Jason. He was panting and struggling at me, visibly followed.